Good morning. Welcome to the channel. It's Cail. Today I'm working on Magic Potion. I got some done this weekend. I don't know if you saw my last stream over on YouTube where I was working down here. And I'm just kind of moving up and I'm trying to finish the bottom of this bottle. So let me go ahead and I'm still kind of testing streaming on Twitch. And I'm still suffering from ragweed allergies, so pardon if I sniffle or cough or sound awful here and there. Let me go ahead and get the Spotify going. So we have some tunes in the background, some little chill tunes. And let's see. And then I'm going to, since I'm still kind of testing, I'm going to test out the, I guess the back end of Twitch. I guess that's what they call it. Let's kind of see like how that looks. I'm gonna send a message. I'll just type hello, and then I want to see if it shows up like on the actual like stream that's in. Okay, I see it. So I wonder if I can make the text bigger. Let me check the settings. I don't know if I can or not. Yeah, let's see. That's at 18. Let's go to 19. Okay. Okay, so I see what it did. Let me if I can make it darker. Let's see. Let's make this darker. Okay. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Maybe turn off that little symbol. Hide user icon. I guess I don't need to. I'm not sure why that's the icon. Maybe because it's me. But anyhow. So let's see where we're at. I've got some drills already out. The dogs are sleeping. It's still warm here in Texas. We have like 2 more days of 90-degree weather. So you may hear the AC go on, which is really ridiculous, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and start drilling. So let's see here. What happened this weekend? I hope you all had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. My husband's still under the weather. I don't know if he's finally getting hit with the ragweed issues. But he had like the scratchy throat and sniffles, itchy nose. And we were kind of like, oh my God, I hope that's not like COVID. Because that kind of went away, and then he's got kind of like a little cough. I guess maybe it's like, maybe he's draining down the back of his throat. Ugh. But he doesn't have a fever or any body aches, nothing like, no flu symptoms. So we're not really sure, but since the pollen is really high here, so I think the other day, maybe yesterday, it was the things that are high. Well, the fungus is low, but there's fungus here all the time. So sometimes it's high, but mostly it's just low, kind of like in the background. And then what's high right now is, of course, the ragweed, grass, and elm. So we're kind of getting like triple hit there on the pollen. So maybe that's just it. But he's at work right now. I told him, I was like, I guess if you start feeling worse, just come on home. Take the rest of the day off. But I think he's in class. So he's learning something. So let's see what else happened this week. I did some cleaning. We watched football. Saturday I watched college ball. I hope if I picked up a diamond. College ball, and then Sunday I watched professional. And I didn't watch. Like normally on the weekends, if I'm not doing like major massive chores or doing major massive like landscaping out in the yard, I'm usually either diamond painting or doing cross stitch, or crocheting. Usually I do the crocheting in the fall and the winter. And so I was doing some cross stitch Saturday, and I opened up one of my, since I finished the round kit, the one called Bittersweet from Diamond Art Club, I decided I'd go ahead and open up another kit that I have hanging around that I ordered, and I actually forgot that I ordered it. That's how boomer, it's just, my memory. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remembered I ordered that. It's really pretty. Let's do that one. As if I didn't have enough works in progress. So, speaking of which, if you got something going on, you can go ahead and just work along with me. You can listen, we'll just chit chat. See if anybody comes in. I probably should, well, I guess I can leave that screen there. Just figuring out the logistics of streaming. So, Sunday, while I was semi watching football, I was opening up the box. I didn't do an unboxing video. I wasn't really feeling up to it. But I did go ahead and open it up and took out the canvas and blah, 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 and then checked out the drills. And then I was like, okay, well, where am I going to get these drills? So I was trying to figure out which storage system I was going to use, because I have several different ones hanging around. But of course, one of them's got the Aquarius project in it. The other one's got Bubble Flower in it. And then one of them has the Mini Celebrate Diversity, whatever, the one with the dragon. I haven't streamed that one because I'm having issues with drill pop off, and I have to figure out how to solve that. And then the other Elizabeth Ward storage system has this kit in it. So I realized that I had the old completed project. I think it was called the Herbalist Helper, and I had that still in that Elizabeth Ward storage box. So I went ahead and just put all those away in little baggies, labeled them and everything, just stored them away. I usually keep them for a while. Part of the problem that I realized is that there could be like color differences in the drills from, one batch to the other. So I'm kind of hesitant about mixing them in with other drills. So I might have to do maybe a little bit more research about that. I don't know if I really actually need to keep them. I mean, how many diamond drills can you keep, if you're never going to use them again? And I'm trying to declutter, so I don't want to keep a bunch of stuff I'm not going to use hanging around. So I'll look into that some more, but I took those out, and then I kitted up that new kit, and that one's called Welcome Home. It's also from Diamond Art Club, and it's square drills. I should have probably got it in rounds just for the change, since I have these gigantic square drill projects, because doing the Bittersweet project with the rounds was kind of like a nice break from the square drills. And that doesn't give me a lot of pay attention. So I got it all kitted up, and I started doing some of the drills. I'm starting in the lower right corner. My daughter stopped by, the youngest. She's technically Frank's daughter, but she's my daughter. So she stopped by to visit because it was Frank's birthday, and she sent a text message early in the morning. Are you doing anything for Dad's birthday? I was like, she's like, I took the day off. I'm like, it's a little late because you didn't contact me ahead of time. Typical. Come on, get on there. And he wasn't feeling well anyway. So I was like, well, he's kind of got like a scratchy throat. I don't know if it's, a cold or something, but you're welcome to come by if you want. So she came by for a couple hours, and she had actually had a box delivered here. I don't know if it was Amazon or whatever, so she was over to pick that up as well. It was a purse. She was treating herself to a purse. It was cute. I mean, not my style, but it was like it was the little, I think it's a little dog, and I think it was from the dog from Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, that's what it looked like to me anyways, unless I'm remembering that wrong, but I think it was that dog. But I've seen it before, and I've seen that movie, and that's what it looked like. So she was thrilled. She likes that sort of thing. And so she stayed and visited. We gave her a little bit of flack for not keeping in contact as often as we would like, but I told my husband, it's like, it is what it is. She's got her own life and she's busy. She's got 2 jobs. And that's just how it is. Get some water. Let's see here. That one there. So I'm doing 961. This little... To me it looks like a sword, but it's not really a sword. It's like a diagonal cross, but to me it looks like a sword. So I'll finish this right here, and then over here in this tray I've got the heart symbol, which is 3837. So let me go ahead and finish these few here. So I've got this, I bought this pattern off of Heaven and Earth Designs. I don't know if I mentioned it before, probably. It's for my cross stitch project. So it's like 750 stitches by 536. So if you look at the actual pattern, it says that the size fabric is like 30 by 23, something like that, 24. So the fabric I initially bought, I thought was like, I don't know, 25 stitches is kind of a lot in an inch. I don't know, can I see it? I did get some reader glasses on Saturday. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that will help enough to be able to see, what I'm doing. And I also have a magnifier with a light, if it really gets difficult. So I wrote back to them. I looked through their website because I'm like, this gigantic, because the 16 count fabric is like, it's like 50 inches across or something. That's crazy. And it's just a little much to be dealing with, and it's so big. I would probably like never finish it. So I decided that I would go ahead and just kind of go through the Heaven and Earth website, and they have the fabric. And then the other thing I was thinking of is I found out that there's a fabric that's already has the every 10 spaces are gridded, so there's like a gray line every 10 spaces, so it helps you with the counting. And because of course it's called counted cross stitch, so there's no pattern printed on the fabric. You have to count how many stitches over. So that would be like if this was if this canvas here was black and white and no symbols on it, you would have to go, okay, well, this is going to be an E. You would have to count. There's a 2 here, 1 here. You would have to count. So it's like that. So to try and make my life easier, I was like, well, what if I do it in the actual 25 count, which is what they recommend anyway. It says that right in the pattern. We recommend doing this on 25 count. I'm like, okay. So I wrote to them and I was like, will this particular size fabric that they have on the website work for this project? And of course, since I bought the pattern from them, they'll be able to tell me yes or no. And I think it's like $32 or something like that, $33 for the fabric. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. And then if she says yes, this will work for that pattern at that size count, 25 count, I'll go ahead and purchase that and restart over, because I already started on the 16 count. And it's just, I just kind of don't like the way it looks. I don't know how to explain it. I also got the Q-snap frame, so I'm thinking that a combination of changing the fabric and using the gridded fabric, where I can count better. It's not so hard to figure out where I am on the pattern. And then, so using the Q-snap, and then going down, the 25 count, that it'll fit on the Q-snap fairly easily, and I'll be able to, start over, and hopefully it will look good. Because I've been doing what they call stitch in hand, which is you're literally just holding the fabric and you're, sewing on the fabric. It's not on a hoop or on a frame. I've been doing that, and I think maybe the tension on my stitches is a little irregular. So I'm hoping that fabric will solve a bunch of issues that I'm having with the project. I've already done, there's 402,000 stitches in that project, and I've already done 0.2%. Ooh, not really making any progress, but I don't mind starting over, because I'm so close to the beginning anyway. It won't really make a difference, but it will make my life a lot easier, and I'm hoping it will look better. And then I was watching another YouTuber, Needle Ninja, and she has a really soothing, peaceful voice while she's stitching. So I like listening to her. And she's, I look like her different methods of how she does her cross stitch. So one project she was doing just, what does she call it? Half stitch. So she was doing the whole project just the one direction. Just the one direction. She wasn't going back and crossing over the stitch and making an X. So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm like, well, I wonder if I want to do it that way. And it seems to do pretty good on the coverage, but I think I still will go with all the way the full cross stitch. I'm going to do a little bit of multi-placing here. Kind of, I'll say half-ass multi-placing. Probably should put fresh wax in. I'll get around to it in a sec. What else did we do this weekend? We went grocery shopping. Normal. Didn't need a lot. About a year ago, we did a lot of food buying. Before all the prices went up, we did a lot of food buying. Not really super prepper or anything, but just having some things stashed away for an emergency. Bottled water, flour, kind of just the basics. Canned goods, that sort of thing. So, of course, those kind of things end up expiring. So I've kind of been going through those. And so we don't end up having to buy a whole lot of food, mostly just like meat, milk, bread. So at least it didn't cost a fortune. I cannot believe the cost of food. I don't know what's going on, but I know that there's no way that a loaf of bread that's, how did they call it on the label? It's like gluten-free or whatever, is $7. I know it's not $7 for that loaf of bread. Or even the other brand, oh my god, I can't remember. My mind just went blank. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyhow, I mean, it's like $5 for a loaf of bread. Are they insane? Frankly, I just think they're just purposefully ripping us off. It's not like, conspiracy level theory of my idea about that. But corporations are really greedy, and the sole reason for a corporation to be in business is to make money any way they can, and they do. So I don't really think that, I'm coming over here in a minute, I don't really think that it costs that much to make a loaf of bread. And just everything, cheese, eggs, just every single item in the grocery store is just ridiculous as far as the cost. Now, I'm lucky because my husband makes a good living and I get my Social Security. So, we're doing all right. But I feel really super bad for other people. Let's keep this down. That are really like, struggling already without the additional high cost of food. Okay, so I have the puppy behind me. What is she doing? What are you doing? Go lie down. She looks at me and she just wags her tail like, I'm innocent. No, you're not. As my cushion knows that you chewed off the tassels. Rodent. The other two are asleep on the beds. So there's a little bit of gapping here, but it looks like it's from either user error or like just an irregular drill size. But it's nowhere near as bad as that other canvas. I think that one's called, oh my gosh, the Witch's Study Room. I did a little bit on that this weekend. In the morning, I think Saturday morning, I worked on it a little bit. But that's the one that's out in the sunroom. Let's get these three right there. Okay. And I got these here. But I think what I need to do is refill this color. Now I would have to remember where I put the overflow drills. Oh my gosh, getting old, your memory is just so shot. Sometimes I'll put something away, I don't know, like a craft item or something, and then I'll go back to look for it, and I'm like, where did I put it? And I know that when I initially put it away, I'm thinking it's a real like clever little place to put it. Like, oh yeah, I'll know where that is next time I go looking for it, and I swear, it's terrible. And I used to have a good memory. And it's more like short term. I mean, I remember things from my childhood clear as day. Or, when I was a teenager. But the short-term memory issue is ridiculous. So let me see, where did I put them? Because I've got the drills in the ones that I'm using, in these containers in the Elizabeth Ward box. And I'm trying to remember where I put the overflow. I think I know where they are. That color is not that color. So my brother called me, my older brother called me Saturday morning. We chit-chatted. He still wants me to move out there. He wants me to buy the lot next to him, move all the way out there. But my husband is not ready to move. He's not that unhappy here. You have to be unhappy with where you are to want to move. And we're not. We've done a lot of work on the house over the last 10 years. Remodeling. Let me check on this dog. Let me look behind me. What are you doing? Come and sit on my lap. Come on. Or come behind me. Come on. Oh gosh. She's so silly. I guess. I don't know. Normally she sleeps. And this one's like a little trash drill. Yeah, lie down. Everybody's lying down. You can lie down too. Normally she likes laying on the heating pad, so I had it on, but I think it's too warm. That's why she got up, so I shut it off. Because of course it's warm here today. So I have all the fans off in the room, other than the ceiling fan. And usually when I'm done streaming, I turn on the other fan. I also have the door shut to the studio because when the AC goes on, it's so loud. I don't know why it's so loud. So we replaced the air conditioning unit thingamabob in the hallway a few years ago. And I don't remember the old system being so noisy. Like, what the hell? I mean, you literally have to turn the TV up in the living room when it kicks on because you cannot hear the TV. It's ridiculous. So when we're watching TV, we're changing the volume all the time. We're like, turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down. So like commercials come on, we're like, turn it down. The AC comes on or the heat or whatever, turn it up. So we're constantly fiddling with the volume on the TV. And then the other thing is that my husband, because of where he's worked all his life, from the time when he was in the Army and as a young man, and his chosen career, which is working on heavy equipment, he's always been around a lot of noise. So it's, damaged his hearing to some extent. So half the time he can't hear and he turns it up. So let's say like we're watching the news. So he turns it up because he wants to hear that particular news story, right? And then the commercial comes on, but he forgets to turn it down. And I'm like, dude, you're killing me. Turn it down. Or he'll turn it up to hear something that he's interested in. Then he'll walk away, go to the kitchen, go into his workshop or whatever. And I'm left there in the living room and the commercials come on and it's blasting. I'm like, I'm going to kill him. It's like, turn it down. I mean, I can hear even over my tinnitus, or tinnitus, however you want to say it, my tinnitus, I can hear the TV. So I don't know. It's like we're constantly battling with this freaking volume on the TV. And sometimes I'll be like, can you understand what I am saying to you? I start like trying to use sign language. It's like, can you hear me what I'm saying to you? Because I end up having to repeat myself. And I get so tired of repeating myself. So I think it's actually been bothering him a little bit more than normal, because he was actually on the phone with the hearing aid company Saturday morning. And I was like, wow, okay. And they're really expensive. And then he called the insurance company, and they only cover like a little bit of it. So I said, look, you don't necessarily need like super expensive ones to start off with, because we don't really know, what you actually need to be able to hear. Like, you don't necessarily need $6,000 hearing aids to be able to hear. I don't think your hearing's that bad. So I went looking online and found a company. I said, just try these out. They have a 45-day, money back guarantee type of thing. So I said, go ahead and just try these. And they were not expensive, maybe like $100. That's not bad. Try these out. You have 45 days to decide if they work or not. So, like, don't overthink it, and don't get, bummed out like, oh, I can't find hearing aids. It's like, you can. I think the ones that he had from before, when he tried them out before, were, I don't know, they're like 15 years old. And I know technology has changed dramatically in that time period for that sort of thing. So I told him, yeah, well, no wonder those don't work. So maybe these ones that are, cheaper, so to speak, or not so expensive, will work, well enough for you, right now, while your hearing's not like super bad or anything. So he should be getting those in the mail. We will try them out and see how they work. And if they don't work, we'll just return them and get our money back. No big deal. Like my dad used to say all the time, no big deal. Everything was no big deal. It was hilarious. It cracked me up. It actually says that on his tombstone, on his headstone, whatever. There was one time, so my dad's dad used to be the state vet of Oklahoma. Because of course he's a down home Oklahoma guy. And his dad was the state vet. So people used to, the clients would come in with their patients, cows and horses and whatever, dogs and stuff. And they wouldn't have the money necessarily to pay him in cash. And so they would give him like a horse. Like, will you take this horse and you fix my cows? So he had about, 12 horses. And when he passed away, they went to my dad. So, when he married my mom, he had all these horses, which was really cool. It was really cool. And they were up in Oklahoma, and we used to go up on the weekends, and he had somebody watching them during the week, but we go up on the weekends and take care of them. Pet them, brush them, check on their water and feed and all that kind of stuff. And then it got to the point where it was kind of a hassle to go up there every other weekend. So we brought them down. We found a piece of property here that they could rent and put the horses on. So we brought them all down. So we had, there was like Whiskers and Diamond Joe and Lucky, and we had Break-A-Bank for a while. He was a ex-racehorse. That thing was huge. He was gigantic. He was scary. Like, I'm short. I'm like 5'1", and he was huge. But a gorgeous horse. I think it's like a thoroughbred. Real pretty. I have no idea how my dad's dad ended up with that horse. No idea. We had, I think there was another mare. I can't remember her name. There was Lucky was the mare, and there was another mare, but I can't remember her name. And then one of the mares had a baby, and that was Daisy. And then we had 2 other babies. So we had Mr. K and Navajo. So I think we sold, and so they sold off some of the horses, kept Whiskers, Diamond Joe, and Diamond Joe was kind of like considered like my horse. He was so pretty. They were Appaloosas. So they're all spotted, real pretty. And so Diamond Joe, Whiskers, and Mr. K. So they got rid of Navajo. They sold the little baby girl. Because after my dad passed away in '93, kind of took the joy out of the horses. And then the kids, of course, were getting older, the grandkids, my mom's grandkids, and, our kids. And they were, like, not around. And nobody was riding them or really doing anything with them. And she ended up just with the 3. Then Diamond Joe, he passed away. So then it was just really down to 2, as Mr. K and Whiskers. But my dad, with his no big deal. So one day we're out just in the yard messing around with the horses, and there was always something to do. When you have animals, there's always something to do. So we had dogs, we had ducks, the horses, and so we're always like, puttering around because it's a pretty big piece of property. I think that one was like, the first one that we were on was about 2 acres, maybe 2.5. And then the other one that my mom bought was actually like 3.5 acres. So there's always something to do outside. So I go outside, and I'm like just visiting with the horses, and I helped out. I was living there by this time, getting a divorce from the kid's dad, whatever. And the kids would come down, and they loved my dad, and they loved the horses. So it was usually a lot of fun. Even though we were apart, it was still, when they were down, it was a lot of fun. And I look down and I see, I'm talking to Whiskers. That sounds funny. I'm talking to the horse. I'm talking to Whiskers. Hey, Whiskers, how you doing? Just kind of, checking on him, because we always used to just look them over and make sure they were okay. So I look down and I see blood just spurting out of his back leg. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? It's like, ah. So I go, Dad was working on a car, because he liked old cars, so he's always working on a car. So I went running over to Dad. Dad, Whiskers is bleeding, right? And of course, he's like, it's not a big deal. Hey, stop growling. It's not a big deal. And so I guess because he was the son of a vet, it wasn't a big deal. But you could kind of see like the blood like spurting out every time Whiskers' heart was beating. It was just a tiny little, like, maybe like a pencil tip hole. It wasn't like a big gash or anything. But every time his heart was beating, I was like, ding, ding. I was like, ew. Okay, so I ran out of this one, basically. So I'll have to figure out where I have those before I do continue on with that. So let's move over to this one here. So Dad came running over. I mean, he didn't like slouch coming over to check on the horse, but he came over and he looks down. He's like, yeah, it's no big deal. I'll take care of it. Rosie, what are you growling at? Stop it. No. And he goes and he gets, bandages and blah, 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 and tape and whatever. Looks down at it, cleans it out, wraps it up, and that was that. I was like, okay. Why is my dog? Hey, oh. There's nothing going on in the house. I don't hear the cat. You don't need to be growling. Stop that. She just looked at me and she was like wagging her tail. I'm like, no, we don't need to hear that. Not at all. So anyway, so my dad, he was the type of man, Rosie, he was the type of man that was very calm in an emergency. So another time, we were out in the backyard where all the horses were, and I was at work, so I just was kind of told this story. And my son and my daughter were visiting from out of town because they were with their dad. They didn't stay with me, they lived with their dad. And my son kind of wandered off, and my mom and dad were sort of distracted, and my daughter was there, and she was sort of watching him, but she was a kid too, so sort of not watching him. And he reached up and he touched the back of the horse's leg, like just real softly, right? He just went like that. And the horse just took her leg, and she didn't kick him like bucking kicking. She just lifted her leg up and she hit him right on the forehead. Well, of course, he was little, so it just like sliced him open. And so my daughter saw that and she screamed, "Grandpa!" And then, man, he booked it over to him, ran over, snagged him. And my dad was like 6'8.5". He was huge. He was really tall. Not fat, but just tall. And grabbed my mom, and they got in the truck. And my dad was holding my son with his left arm and driving with his right hand. It was just like crazy, and he was just bleeding down the front of his face because it cut right above his eyebrow. And got him to the emergency room, and then they called me, and I left work going, oh my god, what happened? And got there, and they're like stitching him up. So my poor son had his entire like top of his head wrapped up when they were done stitching him up. And they brought in the plastic surgeon to try, kick the table, to try and, have it look halfway decent. And so we wouldn't have like a really big scar or whatever. And so, I mean, he was in a diaper still. And I was like, oh, my baby. And I peeked around the corner while they were sewing on him, and I almost passed out. I had to sit down, put my head between my knees. It's like, oh my god, my poor son. And went home, and they're like, yeah, you need to check him, every hour and ask him his name. I guess like they were worried about a concussion, but I don't think that she kicked him actually very hard. I think it's just that he was, that he's little. And he just had a, kind of still new skin that was delicate. And so all night long, I'd wake him up. Hey, baby, wake up. What's your name? How are you feeling? And, Rosie, giving him, children's Tylenol. And he woke up, and he ended up with the biggest black eye. And then the other eye, I mean, it was such a bad black eye, like it literally, he couldn't see out of it. His eye just swelled up. And the other one was kind of a black eye, but not as bad. And he had the stitches. I don't even know how many stitches. I forgot. He had like, I don't know, 100 stitches. He had like ridiculous amount of stitches. And so it was just a matter of like taking care of that over the next, few months. And there was like special cream to put on the skin, and getting his stitches taken out. And, massaging his forehead so it wouldn't have like a bunch of scar tissue underneath, because he didn't just cut like the upper layer, it was several layers. I don't know if you could see the bone. I forgot to ask my dad that. That was pretty bad. And so he always had the scar, and it kind of cut down into his eyebrow, and you could see it was perfect, like a half circle. It was like freaking horse's hoof. I'm like, oh my god, my poor child. But as he grew older, it just kind of added to his charm. you know, and people were always curious what happened. He would tell the story, and it didn't detract from his looks at all. And it paled as he got older. We put sunscreen on it, and lots of good lotions and stuff like that, lots of healing stuff. And so it wasn't too bad. It was kind of like just pale little half circle going, like kind of cut, like where it went down into his eyebrow. It kind of took out, I guess, the hair follicles there. So he was missing like a little chunk of hair from his one eyebrow. But yeah, he was good looking, so it didn't really matter. Nobody gave a crap that he had a scar, a little faint scar there on his forehead. But yeah, my dad and the adventures with the horses were just ridiculous. We would go up there, and when we brought down, so we went up one weekend, and we were like, we're gonna bring the horses down to Texas. And so we had the trailer. We had Diamond Joe and Whiskers in the trailer. And then strapped on the sides of the trailer, it's like Beverly Hillbillies. Strapped on the side of the trailer, on both sides of the trailer, were like square bales of hay, so that they would have hay when we got down to Texas. And then a bunch of stuff that Dad was moving from Oklahoma down to Texas in the back of the pickup. And then we found a couple of stray dogs at his friend's junkyard. And so we had Poncho and Dakota and Cheyenne in the cab of the truck, along with my dad, my mom, myself, my son, and my daughter. And I think that the brothers were in the Datsun B210 driving behind us, following us. So it was insane. So here we are, all those people with those 3 dogs. They were puppies at the time, so they were not gigantic, but they were, young. And we were all just crammed into the Ford F-150. Towing the horses and bales of hay, and I would say probably from where we were in Oklahoma, it was maybe max 3-hour drive. So you can imagine we were doing that every other weekend. And so, of course, by the time we would leave Oklahoma, it was kind of late, like 5-ish or whatever, 4. And so it would be, starting to get dark when we were getting down to Texas. And, of course, everybody would fall asleep. So I turn around, I'm in the front, and the kids are in the back with my mom. I think maybe I don't know if my brothers, they might have been in there. I don't know. The dogs were with us. And so I'm sitting in the middle of the front seat, and I'm looking at my dad, who can barely fit in the truck anyway, as it is. He's so tall. And I was like, Dad, are you awake? Dad, are you awake? Dad, are you awake? Do you want to rest? Do you want to rest? It's like, Dad, are you awake? I did that the whole way down, because I knew he was tired, because we had moved all the stuff and gotten the horses in the trailer, and tying the hay to the trailer, and so on and so forth. So I knew he was tired, and it's like, I look over, it's like, are you falling asleep? And everybody else in the truck was asleep, the dogs, the people, and it was just my dad and I. And I'm like, hey, Dad, are you awake? And I would ask him, it's like, do you want me to drive? And he always said no. He's like, no, I got it. And he would get us home safely, but I was kind of questioning. Move out of the way. I still have some plastic over here. Just trying to. So yeah, we would have lots of adventures with the horses. He used to get on Whiskers and ride Whiskers up the street to the local like little convenience store just down the street. And you do see that here in Texas. Even as close to a major city as I am, you still will see people on horses. It's kind of cool. All right, let's see here. Where am I? How long have I been going? 50 minutes. I'll go a little bit longer. At least I can breathe today. The sinuses aren't as bad. Let's see what else I've got. This here. I got E. Let's put these up. It was actually a lot of fun to have the horses. Where my mom and dad were living, that first house that they were renting, that had the 2 acres to have the horses there. And they brought them down from Oklahoma. And I moved in with them after the separation, divorce from the kid's dad. And sharing a room with my teenage brother. What a joke. One was at school, the other one was still in high school. So, you know, it was just me helping them for the most part around the place with the horses and stuff. And I think my youngest brother was still in high school, and he had already started drinking. He would knock on the window at like 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Let me in." Didn't want to wake up the parents. I'm like, oh God, why do I have to go through this in my 30s? Awful. No memories of my brother. And of course that alcohol killed him. Stuff is poison. Yeah, it's sad when that kind of runs in families. I mean, my mom went through it. She was actually not really a drinker, but after my dad died, she did. She drank for quite a few years until she's finally like kind of started like backing off on it. But she was so broken when he passed away because he was like her soulmate. She just couldn't cope. It was terrible to see. And then now my schizophrenic brother, I mean, he's been drinking. It's terrible to do, given the medication he's taking, if he's even taking it. I don't know if he still is. But yeah, just having like these kind of issues in your family, it's really stressful. It does affect everybody. You know, just one person drinking can affect your whole family, and it's just poison. I don't know how people do it. I mean, yes, I know how people do it. I used to drink, and I got close to going the whole alcoholic route after my my second husband passed away from cancer, lung cancer. So yeah, he was kind of like not feeling well, and then he started like really not feeling well. So I took him to the emergency room. Actually, we called 911. They came and they were like, he needs to go to the hospital. And by that time he was feeling a little better, so I drove him. He wanted me to drive him. But we got there and they did, you know, testing, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out he had lung cancer, the 4th stage. I don't know. And he never left the hospital. He never came home. He stayed there. It had spread. I did this one wrong. It had spread from his lungs to his kidneys, his adrenal glands, his brain, his spine. It was really bad. And I was in Florida at the time, away from my family. So, it was really difficult. My daughter did come in to support me, and they sent him to it's not, I don't want to say a nursing home. It wasn't a nursing home. It was like a nursing home rehab place, I guess. After I think they tried like one radiation treatment on him. He didn't like it, and so they brought him to that one nursing home place or whatever, and then he got too sick for that, and then he went to hospice. And here they took care of him. He had the whatever colostomy bag and whatever catheter, but he ate maybe like the first couple days, maybe a little bit. His family flew in to be with him, but he had like mostly lost his hearing, and he got to the point where he couldn't speak. And I wheeled out his bed one day and showed him the outside. That was the last time he went outside. It's a really nice hospice over in Florida. That's where I was living, in Florida. And I was laying down, taking a break from watching him, whatever. It's out in the lobby, and it was so hard to see him that way. I mean, he looked terrible. He was so thin. He spent a lot of his time. They were giving him a lot of high pain meds, and to keep him comfortable. But he was like, he would be laying there, and it would look like he was having a conversation with somebody. He was like talking to somebody. So I don't know what was going on there, but it was interesting. And my daughter came around the corner one night, probably around 11:30 or so, and she's like, "Mom, he's gone." That was that. He was in his early 60s, so he was like 10 years older than I was at the time. It was back in like the mid 2000s, 2007, so he passed away like 2011. And yeah, it was from the time that he started feeling bad to when he passed away was 2 months. Like 2 months. So it happened like really fast. It was just shocking. And scary and sad. I was so mad. And he didn't want to die, you know. He was like, I'm going to try and beat this. But his body was telling him otherwise. And he was losing his red blood cells. So they would give him a transfusion. Oh, I thought he stuck to me. Yeah. So they would give him a transfusion and give him blood. And it would just immediately, the count would just start going down. It was terrible. It was sad. I forgot where I was going with that story. I got sidetracked. Let's see how we look. This is X. I don't even have X out. This is all X with a little bit of that curly U. A little bit of brown in here. Why am I missing this one? Oh, that's N. Do I have N out? Oh, I can get it. Anyways, I did forget where I was going with that story. I know it was something about my dad, but I can't remember. That's alright. Get a couple of these right here while I have this out. So we've got some more E there, and there's more E over here. Getting there. About almost halfway in this part here. I've got some more green to finish here, and then it's going to go back into blue. This F and this blue heart here, which I have H. This is H. This is blue, like this one down here. They're mostly straight. My dog is still going behind me. Why? I don't know. There's nothing going on in the house. I hear nothing. And my hearing's not that bad yet. But I don't hear anything. I'm listening. I hear the music playing on Spotify. The AC's not on. The neighbors, I think they went to Cancun. So there's nobody like that direction. It's not trash day. I don't hear anything from the street. So I really don't know. The only thing I can think that she's making a fuss about is the cat. Maybe. I don't know. Do a little bit more E here. Then I'll finish up. I've really got to get off my allergy tush and do that book review. But I just haven't felt well enough. I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, that we're supposed to get rain Wednesday and Thursday. That when the rain comes, it'll wash it away. Because he said that ragweed season goes through till September, the end of September. And it's October. So, I'm hoping that once that rain comes, it'll just wash all that stuff away. Or at least minimize it so it's not so terrible. Because it's just awful. And then yesterday, it might have been Saturday, I think it was yesterday, they did some implosion of some office buildings over in Dallas. And it made kind of like this hazy kind of cloud thing going on in the neighborhood. So of course I was out at the time. We were coming back from the grocery store, so I was breathing that in. And I was like, ugh, I don't need any additional aggravations. So, yeah. Rosie, what are you making that noise for? There's nothing going on. She's so spoiled. Oh my gosh, she's so spoiled. My husband was like, I don't know what I would do if anything ever happened to her. I was like, oh Lord. Yeah, he's just, he loves that dog like crazy. I love her too, but I'm more practical about it because I know that something could happen or whatever, you know. But he's more emotional about it. Okay, so let's see how we're looking. Move that out of the way. Little teddy bear. So the teddy bear's got what? A little apple heart? There's in little leaves right there. Little apple heart. So I've got some ABs here. The yellow. And then some here. It's kind of like a blue-green ABs right here. Here. There's one there. And here. Here. That looks pretty good. All things considered. Mostly straight. It's the hardest part is being picky. Get out of the way. Being picky about them being straight, so Looks good though. Okay, I think I'll end it there. Next time when I come to diamond paint on it, I'll do this here. I kind of like try and finish maybe like down this way, so the whole bottom half is done. And then I'll go back to working my way like this. I'll go back this way and do these little chunks. You know, like here's a chunk, here's a chunk, here's a chunk. Here's this like chunk of this upside down triangle, or not upside down triangle, this double triangle here. Like do that chunk, do the number twos. The number twos are ABs in this white color, which is I think it's 3865. Yeah, just white. They're real pretty. That goes in here, and here, and here. And then I'll just continue kind of like up and over, up and over. I'm not going to go like straight up like this. I'm going to just kind of do up and over, up and over. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I'm going to try and get the book review done and upload that on my YouTube channel at Celestial Realms. And of course, I understand that Twitch does not keep these live streams on more than 14 days. So I'm assuming it'll just like, I'll export it. I think I'll do the export over to YouTube so you can find the VOD there if you weren't able to catch me live. And follow me here. And I don't even know like what the check. What is the verbiage? I guess it's follow me here. I know on YouTube it's subscribe. So yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with all the Twitch controls and so on and so forth. So anyhow, what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and export it over to YouTube, and then that way it'll be there for anybody who wants to take a look at it. So thanks for watching. You guys have a great day, great week, and try and make the world a better place, and be sparkly and be nice and be kind. And yeah, enjoy the day. I'll talk to you later.